There we go. It's quiet because I'm about to start teaching. Thank you. All right, we'll do this one. That's close enough. Try to make that as big as possible on the screen for you guys. There we go. All right, cool. Okay. So you guys are going to draw what I draw. And if I write anything, you guys write that. And here we go. So what we want to do, what I do first, and I don't even know if I do this first, honestly, when I'm drawing on my own, but I am thinking this stuff. What I'm going to have, the way that we're going to approach this is, we want to make this hand big on the page. Okay. So we want this to fill the page. We're going to go, okay, this is where, make a mark up here. This is where the middle finger is going to be. And this is going to come down and to about here. All right, that's the base of the middle finger. And then we're going to go middle finger to the base of the wrist. Okay, if you remember the proportions, okay, that we were talking about before, it was this right here, middle finger to the first knuckle there. That's about equal to the middle, the knuckle, mid knuckle to the base of the wrist. Okay, this part right here where it connects. Okay, and your hand bones, once again, they connect to your radius. That's why we can swivel this. But anyway, we're just going to go like this. We're just going to look at our shapes. Now, I'm wrapping around here. Okay, we're wrapping around here using an ellipse. We're bringing this wrist down like so. We're coming down. Let's connect that wrist there. This is the base. This is what the hand's going to attach to. We're going, okay, these hand bones are coming out. And we want to be thinking about, the first thing we're thinking about is the top of the hand here, this part from here to here, and the palm of the hand, okay? Because the fingers attach to the palm of the hand. The thumb attaches to the palm of the hand, all right? And once again, our thumb, it attaches down here. This is where our pivot is down here for our thumb. So we're thinking about that. But before we put the thumb down, we're gonna go, okay, here's the hand shape underneath. And this is kind of sweeping under to that first knuckle. So we got this arcing under, and we have that first knuckle there of the pointer finger, and then we're going to go up in an angle like this. And then our middle finger is going to be right here, and this is coming down at an angle like that. And then we have a fold right here. We have this fold right here. This is this part of the palm of the hand, okay? And then we're gonna come down, arc that, and then we're gonna put in this sweeping C curve, S curve of the thumb. Okay. All right, and now, last time I talked about the cylinder, the fingers are cylinders, so we want to remember that they're wider down here and they get narrow at the top, okay? And that's the way a lot of body parts are. They're wide at a joint area, and then they get thin as they get extend outward. So this finger is doing this. This one is attaching here. We're looking down on it. So this is the wrapping line that we see right here. And this finger is doing this. Because we're putting in that gesture of the finger, and I put a little dot right there that just tells me, hey, that's about where the end of the finger is. And that's narrow here. Now watch this. This goes wide. Narrow to wide. And then we're going to go, okay, where does that middle finger attach? It attaches about right here. Behind. So I'm going to draw through. And that's coming up at about that angle. And there's a little, there's the tip of the finger. And that's going to curve down. We're going to go narrow to wide. We got this little curve down here, that arc. That's the webbing. We want to take in consideration the webbing of the fingers as well. All right, let's put the ring finger in. So it's attaching down here. It's coming out from behind the middle finger. And there's this arc motion. So there's the middle finger. There's this arc we're looking for, something like that. And that ring finger comes out to about right here. And once again, that's wide here to thin at the tip. And let's put this pinky. Now we have this little, the webbing that is doing this. And then from behind the webbing, we have the pinky that's curved as well. And that's coming out like this. Now, when you're drawing anything, what you want to do is you want to make visual measurements. So what I do is I go, how far is this point to this point? How far away is this from this? How far away is this from this? How far away is this from this? And also looking at the negative shapes, the shapes that are in between the thing that you're drawing. So we're drawing this finger and this finger. So what's the shape look like that's in between that? This finger, what's the shape between that? Okay, those are called negative shapes. So we want to be aware of those. Now, I'm bringing this finger back, right? Narrow to wide, and it doesn't measure up with this thing that I drew. So I just changed this. I'm going to change this thing that I drew. Now, we're still arcing under. We're wrapping around, okay? We're wrapping around. We're thinking that, you know, we're thinking three-dimensionally. We're thinking these things have form, okay? So we draw the shapes in. We're using line, which is one-dimensional. And we're drawing in the shapes of the fingers. And then we start thinking, okay, these wrapping lines are called cross-contour lines. Okay, now I'm going to go like this, out, straight, and I'm going to curve inward. And that comes from behind that fold. This is a pinch right here. I'm going to go back to this back side of the hand, and I'm looking at that going, okay, that needs to arc over here, and then this is arcing under. And since we're at the back part of that hand, the top side of the hand, we have a little knuckle right here. We're going to have that come out, and there's a little indication of a tendon right here. I'm going to zoom in because I'm doing some detail. Another part that I want to point out is this rounded thing right here. And I'm going to draw that lightly. This is a muscle, okay? This part right here on your hand, this is all filled with muscle tissue, and it helps, so that's pooching out right there. So that's muscle right there. And then down here we have the division, we have tendons, and we have that natural division of where the wrist connects. And this line right here, this straightish line, that's a tendon pulling. And I gotta zoom out here so you guys can see. Moving down to the thumb now. Now this is a tendon pulling out like this, watch. Now I'm coming all the way up to this rounded part. So we have this rounded part right here. That's this knuckle of the thumb. So this right here is this right here. And then we have this rounded thing right here, and that's a muscle too, this little rounded piece right here. Now I'm gonna come up. Now this thumb is really tense. So this thumb's tense coming towards us. You can see the tendons pulling underneath, and that's what that straight thing is. The tendons, what they do is they're on top here. So we have the tendons on top, and you can see them pulling. And they're in a groove on top of the bones. So and these tendons on top, they extend the fingers. All right, so here we have a wrapping line. That's where that right there is this right here, this place right here on the thumb. And that's coming towards us. And I like to do this on the tip of the thumb because that's rounded. It's like an ovoid shape. And that's tendon, that straightish arc. And right now what we're doing is we're creating a line drawing, okay? So this is a line drawing. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add value to it and make it look more three-dimensional. The light here is kind of generic, but we'll make it more dynamic. Okay, so let's move up to these fingers here. Now remember the fingers, we go, this part right here is about equal to here. This is about equal to this. And then this right here is about equal to the nail bed, all right? And we're gonna come up here about halfway. And that's gonna wrap around. And we're gonna bulge that a little bit. And this is gonna wrap around. And we're gonna give that some roundness at the tip. And there's a little bit of nail. Coming out. Now what I'm gonna do right now on this finger is I'm going to, we wanna think light and dark. We wanna think light side, dark side. And so what I'm starting to see right here is a delineation of light and dark. So this line right here is dividing light from shadow on that pointer finger. This makes like a, and that line that divides light from shadow, that line is typically includes the core shadow. A core shadow is the darkest part of a shadow on an object. Okay, and so we're gonna hatch this. You're like, what's hatching? This is hatching. When you're repeatedly making these straight strokes. And when you go in a different direction, that's called cross hatching. All right, now this shadow line continues down and then it comes back up. And we're gonna fill that in. And it's gonna come around this bulge and come around to the knuckle of the thumb. And we're gonna have all that in shadow. So what I'm doing now is I'm scribbling. So I'm just zigzagging. I'm just going like back and forth like this. So we're gonna have all that in shadow. Division of light and dark. Okay, let's go back up to this pointer finger. That's got a little bulge there. That's coming out. That's coming down. And this is wrapping around. Okay, so that's wrapping around there. That's coming down like that. That's wrapping around. That's wrapping around. All right, cool. All right, let's go to the middle finger. Let me move that up a little bit so you guys can see better. And then we're gonna go, okay, the middle finger, that division is like right here. So there's the midpoint on the middle finger. We want that to wrap around, and then we're gonna come up about halfway. And that's arcing. I'm gonna have that arcing over. That's kind of moving away from us, so I'm arcing over. This is under, this is over. And that nail's going like this, like so. That's round, tip is rounded. And then this gets rounded. And this comes down, this gets a little bit wider here, down at that bottom base of the middle finger. And then we want to put that webbing in. Now, I see some darker values here. So that darker value goes this way. And it's going like this. Now watch this. I'm going like this to put these darker values in. And that's coming up and joining here. Okay, now next to it, since I'm here already, that's moving into the palm of the hand. This is gonna come up, do this, and this is gonna go to the ring finger. So I see some darker values right here. Now why am I putting these in? I'm putting these in to describe form. So these are cross contour lines. And then here, right here, I see a straight line. I see this triangular shadow shape right here on the ring finger. And then I see this another shadow shape right here. I'm leaving this light right there. Okay, now this ring finger is wrapping around. It's arcing under or wrapping around that way. Let's bulge that out a little bit here. And then this is arcing over. So we're gonna go up about halfway. That's arcing over to show it's pointing away from us, kind of. Because that's what I see. And then about halfway, that nail is coming down, going forward, and coming back up. Okay, and this is curving here. That's a little bit darker. There's a little pucker right there. And this is curving here. So this side's in shadow right here. All right. Now, let's go to the pinky. So our pinky is kind of pointed away from us, to me, I think. So we're gonna go up about, and see how, look, the knuckles are kind of aligned. These knuckles are kind of aligned here, okay? This is arcing over. We're wrapping around this way, going over and going over slightly. And when I'm not talking, what I'm doing is I'm observing. Okay, there's that nail shape. And I'm looking for dark values now. I'm going, okay, here's a shadow shape. This is poking, this is coming up to a point. Here's that webbing coming up, and then the webbing's coming up kind of into a shadow. It's triangular here, and that's a shadow shape right there. And I'm gonna hatch this right here. And I'm gonna hatch this right here. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this middle finger and I'm gonna force this, meaning I'm going to exaggerate this right here. Right here, I'm gonna make a shadow line right here, and I'm gonna fill that in. And this little bit right up here. Like the more you look at things, the more you'll see things. Like if you're looking for values, I'm kind of looking for values, and I wanna create this light and dark to make it pop. Okay, what I'm also kind of seeing on this pinky finger here is I'm gonna exaggerate this a little bit. Let's curve this to a point at the crease, and then curve this to a point at the crease, and then curve this shadow shape. And this is coming out to kind of like a triangular shape down here where it meets the palm. So this is all in shadow. All right, now let's go like this. Let's put a little shadow shape here, a little sliver, and let's bring that in like this and wrap this around and put this in shadow too. Give that some dimension. These hands have like a flash. I'm thinking of the light source, and it's like a flash light bulb went off. Okay, also shadow right here. There's a shadow. I'm gonna say all this right here. Let's curve this right here. That little muscle right there. All this is shadow. So let's hatch that. And this overlaps here. So I'm gonna zoom into this part right here. Let's move down. So the stretching of the skin, the webbing, it overlaps. This is going over, and this is under. And that's coming back up. Now, I missed this. Right here, this is coming down. Here's this knuckle right here. This is coming down. This is wrapping too. There's a little wrapping right here. Okay, now at this muscle right here, this comes down like this, and I see this triangular shape right here. And I'm gonna hatch that a little bit lighter. And then I'm gonna go like this. Lighter value. Okay. Zoom back out. Now, I could keep going. There's like a lot of little details. Like there's a darker value right here. Let's darken this tendon here. It's triangular in shape. Let's darken this right here even more. This is like a curved rectangle triangle shape. Let's exaggerate this right here, this curve. Give it more of a core shadow. And blend downward. And I'm just scribbling here. I'm scribbling, but I'm doing it intentionally. I'm just not just randomly scribbling. I'm just telling you the technique. So I'm scribbling like this. Now, how do you blend using a scribble? So here's his technique, right? So we're going like this, and then we can blend down and scribble with less and less pressure and at different angles. Like I could scribble diagonally to the left vertically, diagonally to the right, and I can give it lighter and lighter pressure to give it that blending effect, okay? So that's what I'm doing here is I'm scribbling, but I'm doing it intentionally. It's not random. I'm thinking, how can I blend this? You know, how can I make this look more three-dimensional? By giving it that blending factor, by pushing values. Okay, pushing values, write this down. This is really important. Pushing values means making your darks darker. And I used to hear that in art school all the time. Push your values, push your values, push your values. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? But it means making your darks darker, okay? That's not always the answer because it depends on the type of artwork that you're trying to create. There's sometimes, you know, you might want to create a piece of art. Okay, this tendon right here, that needs to be even darker here, this part. And this part needs to be even darker. So I'm pushing my values all around. You guys, I would recommend, and this is to all levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced, look at photography and paintings that are high key and low key. Like in a high key painting or photograph, let's just say painting or drawing, you have a lot of light values. In a low key painting, you have a lot of dark values, mostly dark. And that creates the mood of your art, or it can. Okay, so we're gonna come around this and make some darker values. All right, I think, what else can I do here? What else? I can do this, watch, we can go like this. I'm gonna space out this hatching and make it lighter, and I'm gonna wrap that around. And then we can wrap this with arcing, wrapping that around like so. Okay, and then we can make this part right here a little bit darker and wrap that around. So by putting these wrapping lines, you're giving it more three-dimensionality. See, that right there gives it more three-dimensional. Now watch this. Let me zoom in on that. And then we're gonna go watch this. And watch this. Because that's a rounded thing. I like hatching. Okay, but you can also get your finger in there and you can give it a little softness and blur that a little bit, you know, if you want to. What's up? I'm teaching a lesson.
None of the computers are printing.
None?
None. None of them.
Okay, I can't fix that right now.
Yeah, and someone needs to print something for ceramic, so they're kind of
Oh, yeah, we're not going to be able to do that then. I got to talk to the tech guy. Yeah, and see what's going on. I didn't know that because I know that a couple weren't printing, but now none of them are working. Okay, I'll talk to him. I'll see what's going on. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. So now our last thing that we're gonna do to make this hand pop, okay, is the background here is really, so we're gonna push down hard and then blend outward. So right here, you're gonna push down really hard and then blend outward or scribble outward. And we're gonna surround that with the darker value. And this is gonna really make that pop. Now, this isn't something you have to do with every hand drawing or any drawing, but I just want you guys to see what happens when you give something a darker background and make, you know, contrast. And we've created contrast with line and with these value shapes with this hand. Now let's try something a little bit experimental. The reference picture that we're using, it's dark all the way around, but let's kind of like, let's just do the dark value in this area. You'll see what I'm gonna do. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. Let's have this dark, that dark. And then we can change the background to a lighter background. I'm easing off the pressure over here. Okay, on this as I'm getting closer to the pinky. And so what that does is, and I can even do this. Now check this out. Over here at the pinky, I'm gonna hold my pencil way back here at the back. And make this value a little bit lighter over here. And now this is an artistic trick. I'm gonna make that a little bit darker here and blend that like that. But there's this thing in art, okay, and it's called atmospheric perspective. See how I'm fading that pinky out? I'm going, okay, I don't want that pinky to be that important. And I don't want this this pointer finger to be that important. Okay? Where do I want my focus? Where do I want my attention? I want my attention to be on these two fingers, okay? Like in this everything's pretty important in this fist one. But here what I've done is I've created more contrast on the pointer finger and the middle finger. So that's where you're gonna look. I'm forcing you to look there because there's more contrast. And the human eye is made to look at contrast and to look at detail, but mostly contrast. So for you guys making art out there, the more contrast you give something, that's where the eye's gonna go as a photographer or a sculptor or a drawer or painter or whatever, or film or whatever. The eye's gonna go there. But so anyway, there's a quick little okay, that thumb needs a little help. Review on how to draw hands, and the rest of the period you guys are drawing your little studies, your little 16 hands, okay? And that's it. Thank you.